And the investigation against Nirav Modi also continues. Remember, there are multiple investigating agencies that are presently probing the fraud that has been perpetrated on Punjab National Bank, with Nirav Modi finding himself in the midst of this massive banking fraud. Now, the latest is the Enforcement Directorate seizing 9 luxury cars that you're seeing on your screens right now, and most of them belonging to the Diamond Czar himself. And 3 of the cars include 1 Rolls-Royce, a Mercedes-Benz, 1 Porsche, a Panamera, among the others. The Enforcement Directorate has also frozen the mutual funds and shares worth rupees 7.80 crores belonging to Nirav Modi. In fact, shares worth 86.72 crore rupees that also belongs to Nirav's uncle Mehul Choksi have been frozen as well. Market regulator SEBI has written to the National Securities Depository Services Limited and the Central Depository Services Limited to freeze all of the shares and the holdings of Mehul Choksi in Gitanjali Gems. Mehul Choksi's shares would be handed over to the Enforcement Directorate till the proceedings against Mehul Choksi is complete. Executive Editor Meetu Jain joins us now for the very latest on the investigation. So, Meetu, we are seeing the visuals of those luxurious cars. Nirav Modi, the flamboyant jeweler, who's known to, lead quite a lavish lifestyle, and we're just getting a glimpse of the lifestyle that he led.
Well, you're getting a glimpse of the lifestyle that he led. You've been looking at the screen for a whole lot of those beautiful diamond jewelry that Nirav Modi and his models have been flaunting using the taxpayers' money. Let's not forget that the money that we are talking about, the flamboyant lifestyle, is all at the cost of you and me, Avantika. That's the first point. Secondly, of course, it makes for great, visuals, beautiful cars, beautiful diamonds, beautiful models. But the question is that what is going to be the outcome of this entire investigation? So one thing I can tell you, what the agencies are seizing in the bank accounts is like essentially peanuts. A lot of the money, and of course you're looking at current accounts of these banks, a lot of this money has already gone out of the country. They've gone to companies located in jurisdictions outside India. That's the important thing to remember. So essentially what the agencies are now seizing is chicken feed. Will this really amount to anything? I don't think so, because most of the money has gone out, and essentially even though action is taken, I don't think most of the banks, and forget the banks and forget the employees and the shareholders, I don't think anybody is going to be getting much out of this. We are essentially cleaning the stables after the horses have bolted.
Absolutely, and that's the big question. This big banking fraud has not just stunned the country's financial sector, but the big question is that the bigger players in this fraud are now missing. They're the ones who have managed to escape, while the small fish are now being targeted. India Today's Shiv Arur tells us about the key players in this bank loot scam.
Well, as we all know, it's not just about Nirav Modi, it's also about the Nirav Parivar. There is a huge ecosystem that functioned around him. Many members of his family have been named in the FIR as well, starting with Nirav Modi's own wife, who's named in the FIR. Nobody knows where Ami Modi is either. She's Nirav Modi's wife, and nobody yet knows where Ami Modi is. She's been named in the FIR. She's also missing. Very familiar name in this entire controversy and this entire scandal, of course, is Nirav Modi's own uncle, Mehul Choksi, the former chairman and managing director of Gitanjali, a company that's now completely shuttered. He's missing as well. There are people who've been coming forward and talking about how he was a habitual cheater, wined and dined with the celebrities, and he's also missing at this time. Also missing another Modi is Nishal Modi. He happens to be the brother of Nirav Modi. Nobody knows where he is. He's also known to have had a hand in many of the things that Nirav Modi stands accused of. He's his brother. He is also missing. And finally, the one person who has actually been arrested so far is Vipul Ambani, who is the chief financial officer of this entire operation, and he's been arrested so far by the CBI.
Moving on now to some other news. The Army Chief's recent statement on the rise of the All India United Democratic Front in Assam has turned into one big political row, with the AIMIM Chief Asauddin Owaisi hitting out at the Army Chief, claiming that the Army Chief shouldn't be commenting on political parties. OWAISI further adding that the constitution says that the army always work under the democratic fabric of the government. He was speaking at a seminar on northeast region of India, bridging gaps and securing borders. The army chief speaking about the illegal immigration into Assam, when General Bipin Rawat said that Pakistan is helping planned influx of illegal migrants as part of its proxy warfare against India. Underlining that the population dynamics of the northeastern region cannot be changed, the general claimed that the All India United Democratic Front has grown faster than the BJP. Let's listen in.
There is a party called AIUDF. If you look at, they have grown in a faster time frame than with the BJP grew over the years. When we talk of, the Jansangh with 2 members of parliament and where they have reached, the AIUDF is moving at a faster pace in the state of Assam. It was brought out that Bangladesh has a better HDI than us today. Therefore, will the migration from Bangladesh continue? Migration from Bangladesh is happening because of 2 reasons. One is Lebanon. They are running short of space. Large part of their areas get flooded under water during monsoons. So they've got very constricted areas to stay in. So I think people will continue coming into our place, into our areas. And the other issue is a planned immigration that is taking place because of our western neighbor. They will always try and ensure that this area is taken over through playing the proxy dimension of warfare. You don't have to confront a stronger nation through conventional operations. So you play a proxy game. I think this proxy game is being very well played by a western neighbor, supported also by a northern neighbor. So to that extent, to keep this area disturbed, we will continue to see some kind of migration happening.
Editor, India Today, Sudhir Ranjan Sen joins us right now. So, most of the time one gets to hear these comments and such statements from retired army generals or brigadiers post-retirement. But we have the army chief saying that this is all part of a strategy by Pakistan, saying that this is a proxy warfare against India. What do you make of this statement? Should a serving army chief make such political comments? There were a lot of political references that have been made there.
Well, Avantika, to begin with, he's talking about illegal migration into the northeast. He talks about Bangladesh, the lack of space there, therefore people, moving into India for better economic opportunities, so on and so forth. Then the chief talks about, how there could be Pakistan behind it and China behind the entire illegal migration. As a matter of fact, there has been, illegal migration. We have the National Citizenship Register that is in the process of being finalized, and therefore who all are illegal migrants determined. That said, what perhaps, the chief would have slightly crossed the line is comparing 2 political parties, because it has been the constant refrain of the military, and fairly so and rightly so, they do not involve the military in politics.
Yes.
The Indian military is an apolitical, secular organization.
Exactly.
But when the chief compares 2 political parties, he opens himself up to criticism, to comments, and the military again being dragged into politics. That perhaps could have been avoided. Apart from that, the other thing that the chief says in this remark is that now that there has been migration, there has been demographic change, we need to learn how to amalgate and live together. That's the message broadly that is coming out from this. But the entire thing is being lost when the chief compares 2 political parties. Perhaps it was best not done.
Right, Sudhir. Thank you so much for joining us. Meanwhile, let's also tell our viewers about Pakistan's army's latest sinister plan to attack our nation and kill our armed forces while they push in infiltrators under the garb of crossfire. After unprovoked ceasefire violation, Pakistan's army is now deploying a massive contingent of snipers along the line of control and the border. Over 145 Lashkar, Jaish, Hizbul terrorists have been trained as snipers by Pakistani army, and now they are being deployed with the Mujahid battalion. These terrorists are paid anything between 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees for targeting Indian forces, and they have been trained with Pakistan Special Forces in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. A high alert has already been sounded along the line of control over the rising threat of sniper attacks. In fact, on Wednesday, 2 Pakistani troopers were killed when the Indian army reacted to incessant firing in the Tangdar sector in Kupwara district. Constable S.K. Murmu, a BSF Jawan, was critically injured in yesterday's sniper attack. Inspector General and the other officers paid respect to the constable during the wreath-laying ceremony today. Sources reveal that the additional reinforcements have already been rushed along the border amid the high alert. So that is the latest about Pakistan's another attempt to push in as many infiltrators and also repeatedly provoke India with those ceasefire violations. Executive Editor Gaurav Sawant is joining us for more on this. And Gaurav, Pakistan would be now deploying more and more terrorists along the line of control with the intent to, send them in under the garb of that crossfire, especially with the advent of summers.
Absolutely, Avantika. The latest MAC report talks about 375 to 400 terrorists waiting to cross over as snows melt along the Pir Panjal ranges. This is the multi-agency report center inputs. Not only that, Pakistan is also training Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists into sniping operations. So Pakistan Army is rather thinly deployed at the line of control. But where India is heavily deployed at the LC, Pakistan is now using terrorists to snipe at Indian Army, whether it's patrols or the deployment in their bunkers or listening posts. And this is one major threat as far as India's deployment is concerned. You remember 2 days ago in the Karna sector, one 29-year-old BSF constable, SK Murmu, he made the supreme sacrifice of his life when Pakistani snipers got him in his bunker. Of course, India retaliated hard. What we are told, in the next 2 days, some Pakistani soldiers were neutralized and some of their posts destroyed along the Hajipir area. But this just goes on to show that the situation along the line of control is escalating and hotting up.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Gaurav, for joining us. And speaking of ceasefire violations, another incident has been reported, and this one at the Charunda region of the Uri sector. Fierce gun battle is presently on from both the sides. We hear that heavy mortar shelling started at about 7:30 in the morning today. Pakistan targeted with machine guns, and the Indian Army also giving a befitting reply to Pakistan's brutality. Indian Army targeting several army posts of Pakistan's army. The line of control has now been put on high alert since Tuesday itself after a Pakistani army post area was destroyed by the Indian Army. Meanwhile, an army Jawan was also injured in the encounter in the Bandipur area today. 2 to 3 terrorists, we hear, have managed to escape from the encounter site. Right, so we hear that heavy gunfire presently is on, and 2 to 3 terrorists have managed to escape as well. This is happening in the Uri sector. We're just waiting for more details right now, but the Indian Army once again firing back, giving a befitting reply to the Pakistan Army, and there will be an attempt now by Pakistan to infiltrate as many terrorists, especially with the coming of the summer season, the snow melting. So that attempt, and that's particularly why we're seeing a spike in the number of ceasefire violations. In fact, we are seeing how the army is also crossing over the line of control and targeting a few Pakistan posts as well. Shuja-ul-Haq joins us with the very latest. Shuja, just give us more details about this latest ceasefire violation that we have been talking about.
Well, Avantika, there has been a ceasefire violation in Tangdhar area of North Kashmir. What we've been told is that from early in the morning, exchange of fire is going on between the two sides, and the Indian Army is also retaliating, with equal caliber weaponry being used. Avantika, let's remember that this area has been tense for last couple of days. We've seen that a ceasefire violation started at least 2 days back in Tangdhar region, in which one BSF soldier was first targeted. He suffered a bullet injury after a direct attack was mounted on the CRP on the BSF post there. He lost his life today. We saw his wreath laying ceremony also been carried out here in the valley. But all along this region of the line of control, we've been witnessing tension for last couple of days. In fact, an alarm has been sounded, an alert has been sounded across the line of control in these northern areas of the valley, suspecting that more such attacks, sniping attacks or bad actions could take place. The army has been asked to be very, very vigilant.
Right, absolutely. Shuja, thanks so much for getting us all of that information. US President Donald Trump has created quite a stir by suggesting arming teachers to prevent mass shootings in schools. During a White House listening session over the Florida high school tragedy, Trump said that the way to prevent gun violence is to give guns to teachers. In fact, he even further added that when maniacs come attacking, they know that bullets won't come their way from the other side. And therefore, The United States President endorsed guns for teachers to stop violence and shootings across schools. Parents of victims slammed the US president's suggestion, asking just how can this be a solution to control gun violence in schools. 17 students were killed in mass shooting at a school in Florida on the 14th of February.
If the coach had a firearm in his locker when he ran at this guy, that coach was very brave. Saved a lot of lives, I suspect. But if he had a firearm, he wouldn't have had a run. He would have shot, and that would have been the end of it. And this would only be, obviously, for people that are very adept at handling a gun. And it would be, it's called concealed carry, where a teacher would have a concealed gun on them.
School teachers have more than enough responsibilities right now than to have the awesome responsibility of lethal force to take a life. Thank you.
Mr. President, we're gonna fix it. Because I'm gonna fix it. I'm not gonna rest. And I'm pissed. Because my daughter I'm not gonna see again. She's not here. She's not here. She's in North Lauderdale at whatever it is, King David Cemetery. That's where I go to see my kid now.
Moving on, Hollywood actor Jennifer Lawrence has come back quite strongly, hitting back at all of her critics who shamed her for wearing a dress on a cold day. Jennifer Lawrence hitting out in a post on social media saying that criticism was a distraction from the real issues that women face, and it was her choice for what she wore on that cold day during the shoot in London. She further added that the Versace dress with a thigh split was her choice and that she will do this again. She said, and I quote, that I was outside for 5 minutes. I would have stood in the snow in that dress because I love fashion and that's my choice. This is sexist. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is not feminism. The entire furor began when Helen Lewis tweeted an image of Lawrence in that particular dress, calling it depressing. Others questioned Jennifer Lawrence wearing a revealing dress outdoors in London, while her male co-stars and director, who you see in that photo shoot, were wearing long trousers and coats. And in case you missed out on the match and you want to catch up with all the updates and the other big headlines, you can always log on to our website, indiatoday.in, or you could also download the India Today app on your mobile phones. With that, I'm slipping into a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with lots more.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.